Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all honors, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the brothers out here laboring in this work, in this ministry, in truth and sincerity, and being occupied in prophecy. And shalom to the hopeful elect, okay, holding fast to faith. This is going to be a little testimony as well as expounding on a dream that I had. And it's centered around brothers, being more circumspect, being more discreet, and, basically conducting themselves as spiritual as possible. More of a exhortation in code of conduct, in the way you speak, all right, the way you act and the way you behave from your day to day, all right, and to just use more discretion, situational awareness, as well as being more aware of your surroundings, all right, and those who you interact with. So to start off, in the dream that I had this morning, as I was, waking up to get myself ready for work, in the dream itself, I was preparing to, take a drive and essentially go and, pick up a paycheck or whatever, right? So I remember in the dream, I got myself ready. I put on overalls. All right, it was cold. That was the setting or time of season. It was cold. I believe there might even have been snow on the ground, if my memory serves me correctly. And I put these overalls on, and the overalls themselves were like a camouflage. And I remember when I drove up to the house, I felt uncomfortable, in the flesh. I felt, something was off, something didn't feel right. But nonetheless, like I said, I was there to receive money, okay, that Esau owed me or whatever, like I had done a job or whatever. And so I get there. I was led into this house, or what I thought was a house, and then I was standing in this room, and I was waiting to receive my wage. And I look off into the distance as this lady comes walking through, and she's conversing with somebody else, and they end up sitting down in this room that has all these computer monitors set up and keyboards. And obviously I was curious, and it made me suspicious, like what are they doing over here? And they were laughing, like they were enjoying themselves, but it was malicious, it was ill-willed. Like I said, it had already felt off, and I'd realized, they were analyzing me while I was, trying to take a peek at what they were doing and what they were up to. And I managed to put myself in position to get a closer look at what was going on in this other room. And what they had was all these different monitors that had the WhatsApp, specifically the WhatsApp on these monitors. And what they were doing was they were using words that are synonymous with us as Israelites. Two words in particular that I saw that stuck with me after the dream, that were really prevalent, was the words Judah and Ak. They were using these words Judah and Ak. And that's when I really started, to become aware of what was going on. And the spirit they were running a sting operation, and they had infiltrated our different, group chats that we have. And they were trying to, emulate what we say and what we do, to try to catch us up in our words, essentially, and so this is why I want to push and convey the message of being more discreet, because of who you might be interacting with. Now, right after that, I caught the words Ak and Judah. I'm like, oh man, this is like a sting. They're trying to set us up. They're trying to act and pose as us, to get brothers to say certain things and possibly do certain things, that might incriminate us. This is why we have to constantly be spiritual and have that situational awareness, as well as awareness of surroundings, and move totally spiritually. Okay. And of course, remember that we don't have to say everything that comes to mind, and just be mindful as to, how we conduct ourselves. Now, what's also interesting about that dream is, I work as an independent contractor. I have for some time now. And I won't forget this one day, I drove to a warehouse. I had a pickup that I had to do. And, my dispatcher I remember he asked me if I was available to do something Saturday. Now, he already knows that my Saturdays are off limits, okay? I told them long ago that on Saturdays I'm already obligated to family, is what I believe I told him. So he already knows that. But I remember he called me over, as he was monitoring everything. He said, "Hey, would you be be available to do something on Saturday?" I said, "No." Right? I already, Saturday is spoken for. I already have something that I got to do Saturday. And out of this devil's mouth, he said, "Oh, that's right. You have your cult meetings on Saturday." Now, mind you, I'm very discreet. I don't talk about these, what I do in my private life to anybody, all right, or anyone. I keep a low profile as we should. I move in the spirit. But, I recognize that wasn't him saying that. That was the demon on him saying that, and at the end of the day, you don't necessarily know who might be a plant, right? Who might be a spy, who might be an agent, all right? And not just amongst Esau, okay, but also amongst wicked Israelites. Because you got to understand, wicked Israelites, they want nothing more to see us off the streets, right? They go hand in hand with the mindset that Esau has, because we, are the ones calling into question their behavior. And Jake right now, because his mind is wicked, wants to see us, go down. You see the scoffers, you see the people that try to, provoke us when we're out at camp. And we've gone through plenty of different experiences where Jake is no more than a agent provocateur for Esau in an attempt to try to get us in trouble. All right. And this is why, again, we need to move more spiritually. We need to move more discreetly. As you see on screen here, I have the word discreet. It means careful and circumspect, right? And that word circumspect means circa, meaning around, right? And spect, meaning to look or see, right? Careful and circumspect in one's speech or actions. So we need to learn to be more discreet, all right? In our day-to-day actions and in everything that we do, we need to learn to be more self-aware and really use a greater filter, before speaking and before acting. Because at the end of the day, we already know that Esau got spies out here. He got plants. They're everywhere, man. Even if things aren't necessarily as they seem, man. A lot of people could be following us. And like I said, this ain't to really put fear out there, but it's just to be more aware that these things are happening. Now, one or two things in particular that I thought was interesting about the dream is how I was wearing overalls, but I was in camouflage. And that would be representative of being subtle. Now, the word subtle, all right, going back to Latin subtilis, means difficult to detect, meaning I was under the radar. I blended in. So we got to learn how to blend in more, man. You got certain guys, they want to be wearing fringes all the damn time. And while, hey, on one side, yeah, it's a part of our custom. It's a remembrance of the laws. We're not in our kingdom. We are behind enemy lines, okay? The book of Micah, 2, tells you to depart ye, for this is not your rest. This is not our rest, man, all right? And a lot of the times, the guys are only doing that to garner attention. The problem is you're garnering the wrong attention. You're not using a sense of discretion, and you're basically putting a target on your back. Now, the truth in of itself is already controversial enough, okay, let alone to be putting yourself out there in ways that are going to only end up getting you in unnecessary amounts of trouble. Like, there's certain things that can be mitigated, right? There's certain things that you could prevent by using more wisdom, using more subtlety. And we're going to get into the precepts because ultimately this is coming. That persecution is coming. So you want to ensure that, you're really filtering your words and your actions accordingly as to not incriminate you beyond sincerely just speaking the truth, right? So because that's in the scriptures. That's what's going to happen. So this is just my little testimony, a little exhortation. The dream is very vivid. I already shared it with the body, and a brother had encouraged me to share it with the rest of the flock. So, that's basically the dream and a testimony. Now, the time and setting was interesting too, because the setting was in the cold or in the winter. And, there's been talks of a dark winter, and this time period might be where they start to accuse us more try to lock brothers up, and they might start to really crack down. At least we should anticipate that, because after all, it is in prophecy. So again, that's really the message that I want to convey. Having a greater sense of awareness, both situationally and your surroundings. Be mindful who you're talking to. Don't necessarily share every thought. You don't have to speak every thought that comes to mind. And if you are to speak, filter it first. Give it some thought. And as we go into the scriptures, you're going to see that's exactly what the Most High commands us to do. So you see the rest of the definition there, right? It says, in one's speech or actions, especially in order to avoid causing offense. Right now, in this particular case, you could use it to apply to the fact that, you don't want to put yourself in unnecessary situations, right? They could be avoided just by having a greater level of discreetness. And it says, or to gain an advantage, right? We want to be undetected as much as possible, to not be putting ourselves out there, not bringing unnecessary amounts of attention to ourselves. Okay, filtering what we're saying and how we're communicating, even within the body. You got to watch, because guess what? As the apostles and elders and brothers have been saying, there's already spies amongst us and infiltrators. And how much more with these new regulations and policies that they're pushing for. Give you an example. Google just recently said that what they're going to start doing is fully monitoring people's searches. Okay, you can go and find articles on that. And it's no surprise that Facebook, WhatsApp, and these other different communicative devices and apps all experienced outages. So this is just to err on the side of caution, right? Ultimately, if we're doing the right thing, the Lord is going to deliver us out of the hand of the enemy, even if they threaten us with imprisonment or whatever. But that is what's coming. So without further ado, this is the book of Proverbs, chapter 1, verse... I'm just going to go right to the point. 1 and 4, it says, to give subtlety to the simple, to the young man knowledge and discretion. Now, when we go into this word subtlety, and we're going to go right to the point, right? Go right to the root. The root there is iram, and it means to be subtle. Now, all of this is good, to be crafty, right? Meaning in righteousness' sake. The word, if you look it up, goes back to the Latin subtilis. Now, I already have it on a sheet of paper I wrote down, but brothers could look this up for themselves. The word subtilis means difficult to detect, right? Now, in the dream, I kept my composure. Now, I kept a sharp eye on what they were doing, but I didn't blow my cover. They obviously didn't know I myself was a Hebrew Israelite, all right? And that's denoted in the blending into my surroundings and having the camouflage overalls, right? That's what I extrapolated from that portion of the dream. All right. And like I said, I gave my testimony on this one time about how I was being asked to work on a Saturday, and they damn well know I don't work Saturdays, and he's still going to ask me anyways. And then a demon going to jump on him and say, oh, that's right, you have them cult meetings on Saturdays. Now, whether or not he knows, all right, which I don't think he knows, but a demon got on him and made him say that. In my mind, I wanted to curse his ass out, but the spirit, advised me to just laugh it off and say, yeah, whatever, or whatever I said to him at that time. But best believe at work, there are plants, there are spies. On your day-to-day, there's people watching you, right? Esau already tracks us and monitors us in many different ways, man. So this is just, precautionary measures to be more alert and be more aware, stay in prayer. But in essence, this message is really to pay attention to your code of conduct, man, to what you're saying and what you're doing, as to not put yourself in unnecessary predicaments. All right, so we got that. The word subtle, subtilis, difficult to detect. Or we have here, be shrewd, be crafty, beware, right? To beware, be prudent. All right, so all of that applies. Yep, we're just going to go there because it could be, on the negative or in the positive. Right now we're speaking on the positive. The next word we're going to get is the word discretion, right? So the word discretion is a mom. We're going to go to the root. Samam, to have a thought, device, plan, consider, right? Begin to use more thought and filter and consider what it is that you're doing, in whom you're doing it in front of, as well as what you say and in whom you're saying it in front of. It's no secret that Esau been monitoring us in all these different ways and is going to continue to do so. But again, this is to take preventable measures, to not say and do things that could cause unnecessary problems. Again, I'll say it again. The truth is controversial all on its own. And this is why the apostles and elders advise us not to be on these different social media platforms, mixing, the spiritual with the your personal life. Those two should be separate. If you're going to be on social media, building a business or for advertising, maybe you want to talk to some girl or whatever, you trying to holler at some girl, let it just be that. That should be separate in of itself. It should not be attached to what we do, all right, in terms of our spiritual, our spirituality. That has to be separate, all right? You can mitigate a lot of your problems if you actually separate the two. Again, this is all about using discretion, which we're reading about. Take thought and consider how this is going to affect you. All right, people don't understand that these social media platforms are no more than public databases for Esau to use whenever he so chooses to build a profile against you. So doesn't it make sense to separate the two? All right, I think it does. All right, I think it does. It doesn't make sense to be mingling your spiritual with your personal endeavors that kind of fall outside of the faith. All right. So with that, we're going to go to the book of Mark 13 and verse 9. Mark 13 and verse 9. It says, "But take heed to yourselves, for they shall deliver you up to councils and in the synagogues." And that's what they were having amongst themselves when they were using words. Basically in my mind, like, oh, they're trying to not only infiltrate, but they're trying to fish brothers out, So again, sometimes it's best, not to say certain things or to just keep it to yourself. All right. Or at the very least, word it in a way that doesn't come off to where Esau could try to spin it, which Esau going to try to do that anyways. But, the point I'm making is let's do better in terms of our code of conduct so we don't have to put ourselves in these types of positions, because we're already going to come under fire for teaching the word and teaching the controversial topics of the word. And that's not going to change, because our position is absolute and solidified in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. We want this kingdom to go down. It has to go down in order for our kingdom to be set up. We need deliverance. Esau is the damn devil. Okay, his ways and everything within this society is evil. It has to be destroyed. All right. In order for peace in the earth, all right, and the people and the Israelites to flourish, okay, mainly the Israelites to go back to their status, all right, that the Lord intended for us to receive perfection. This man has to go down, man. Point blank, period. And see, these ideals are very controversial, and these are the types of things that Esau is going to say makes us, breaking the law from his point of view, right? Saying these different things is, in his point of view, doing something wrong, and he's going to most definitely do what we just read here. Take heed to yourselves, for they shall deliver you up to councils, right? They have counsel, is it true that you said such and such? Were you here and doing so and doing such and such? Or so and so? Right? And we want to be presented ourselves blameless, because if all they have against us is teaching the truth, then we're justified in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. All right. It says, "And in the synagogues ye shall be beaten, and ye shall be brought before rulers and kings for my sake." So all of this we're going to endure and go through is really for the sake of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, for a testimony against them. Right. And it's really going to serve as a testimony against them, because we're not really doing anything wrong. They're the ones in the wrong. To try to enforce these arbitrary laws against us and take away our right to speak according to righteousness and truth is really going to be a testament against them and their evil and their wickedness. And the Most High is going to destroy them for it, while justifying and delivering us, okay, through that testimony. Right. So from there, we're going to get Revelation chapter 2, verse 10. says, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison. And this might come at a time where Esau is committing those summary executions, all right, and using those guillotines, all right, which is written in the prophecy about those who died and became martyrs for the witness and testimony of Yahweh Shai. Brothers might experience that. So there's things to consider, man. You know, at the end of the day, we want to have a clear conscience and just make sure that we're moving as wisely and subtly as possible. And, you know, put ourselves in an advantage, okay? Just like we read for the definition of discreet. You know, put yourself in an advantage. Don't disadvantage yourself by being open and loose with your words or your behavior. That's nonsensical, man. Because we're already going to suffer particular things the way it is, being that we have this faith and we have this truth. You know, just make sure it's for the right reasons. It says, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil, right? Esau, Edom. He's coming. He's coming, man. It's coming down to that time. Shall cast some of you into prison that ye may be tried. And it's really for our trying, you know. See if we're going to remain integral. And those that are elect will, even in the face of death. It says, and ye shall have tribulation, right? Troubled times, 10 days, right? And depending on the period, because that could you know, that's all determines to the Heavenly Father. You know, it could be 10, could be more, could be less. And that's really up to the Heavenly Father. It's just, you know, give you an idea, man. You know, prepare yourself. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. So ultimately, that's what we're fighting for, that crown of life. So it behoove you to operate as wisely and subtly as possible. Okay? Can't stress it enough, man, because really, I'm saying this for my sake, too. To be more self-aware, to be more consciously aware of who I interact with, what information I share. All right, no matter where I am and no matter who it is. But yeah, we're all gonna, you know, we're all fighting for that crown. You keep your integrity, you will receive it, even if you have to die. Okay, last precept is going to be Romans 8. Romans 8. Oops, like here. And verse, what I written down here, 8 and 30. I would actually advise you read the entire Romans 8 chapter. I'm just going to jump right to the point. It's Romans 8 and 30. And this is most important of all. It reads, you know what? Here we go. This is Romans 8 and 33. It says, who shall lay anything to the charge of the Most High's elect? At the end of the day, when we get into these certain situations where we're going to be put, you know, on trial, brought before councils, it's ultimately at the will of the Heavenly Father. So no one's going to be able to lay anything to our charge, being that the Most High already predestinated these things to take place and they already have a predetermined outcome. And for the hopeful elect, they're going to stay sincere and integral and hold fast their faith even in those predicaments. So it says, it is the Most High that justifieth, right? So ultimately, the Most High is going to justify us when we give our different testimonies, when we're brought before council. Now, whatever the outcome of that is really of the Most High. If you keep your integrity, whether you're let go and released, or you end up, you know, convicted and possibly put to death, you're still going to receive your reward ultimately for your faith. All right. Again, I hope this was, edifying. You know, take heed, take the exhortation, as I will myself. Be more discreet. You know, blend in. Try not to be bringing too much unnecessary attention to yourself. Move more wise, because we are in very evil times, right? Be ye circumspect, okay? Because the days are evil. So with that, shalom. Okay, double honors, Slakia, shalom. Call Allah Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, Bashim Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Until the next one.